Hi, hello. This mind map of stakeholders discusses the definition of a stakeholder, which is quite interesting. So, a stakeholder is anybody who is affected positively or negatively by doing a project or by not doing a project is a stakeholder. So, I'll repeat it again. Anybody who is affected positively or negatively by doing a project or not doing a project, by not doing a project is a stakeholder. Now, let's say you are constructing a flyover. All those people who are party to that are stakeholders. Somebody may be positively affected, somebody may be negatively affected. So all are stakeholders. You take a project, who all could be the stakeholder? Stakeholders for project manager is definitely a stakeholder. Sponsor is another stakeholder. Team members could be a stakeholder. Customer is the stakeholder. Subcontractors are stakeholder. Government agencies could be a stakeholder. The local citizens could be a stakeholder. So the list, trade unions could be a stakeholder. The list is very exhaustive. But then there is a saying in project management that if you can manage the stakeholders well from start to finish, and if they are all happy with the project proceedings throughout the project will be successful. As per PMBOK, when we do a project initiation, you come out with a project stakeholder register, which is not a one-time activity, because as the project progresses, new stakeholders can come in, existing stakeholders can disappear. Now let us say there is a project manager change during the project execution, then there is change in the stakeholder register. A new project manager's name must appear, and the old project manager's name must disappear. So it is a dynamic document, that the stakeholder register, which happens during initiation, and the first cut stakeholder register is prepared by the sponsor, because sponsor is the person who is creating the project charter. And very often people mistake between sponsor and stakeholder. Sponsor is just one of the stakeholders, whereas all the stakeholders are not sponsors. Sponsor is the person who is funding the project, so he is definitely a stakeholder, but then all stakeholders do not fund the project. So all stakeholders are not sponsors, whereas sponsor is definitely sponsor is definitely a major stakeholder. Now, the stakeholder register is prepared during initiation, and during planning, the project manager plans stakeholder engagement. Now, the power of the stakeholder to influence a project. Yeah, so let us say you have a project manager. A supplier's project manager is working for your project. Now, if the supplier is a manufacturing organization, which most probably their organization structure would be a functional in nature. So if a stakeholder is coming from a functional organization, he can be if the customer's project manager is coming from a functional organization, then he can be very powerless. Whereas a project manager is coming from a projectized organization, he can be very powerful. So we need to understand the organization structure of the stakeholders to really estimate their power to influence the project. So the different organization structure, we'll take it as a different discussion, which is not part of this discussion. So as discussed, stakeholders can be of high power, low power. They can be high interest to the project and low interest as well. And there is a school of thought that stakeholder management, as we discussed already, there is a school of thought that project management says project management is nothing but stakeholder management. So if your stakeholders are happy throughout the project, then the project can be successful. During execution, the project manager performs stakeholder engagement, and during monitoring and controlling, the project manager monitors and controls the stakeholders' engagement. So if you really look at the flow, during initiation, stakeholder register is prepared by the sponsor. Then during planning, the project manager plans the stakeholder engagement. There he classifies the stakeholders onto 4 quadrants of high power, high interest, high power, low interest, low power, low interest, and low power, high interest categories, and which is based on from where the stakeholders are coming from, and develop strategies to deal with the stakeholders. And during execution, the project manager performs stakeholder engagement, and during monitoring and controlling, the project manager monitors and controls stakeholder engagement to see whether it is effective or not. Again, coming back to the definition of stakeholder, a stakeholder is anybody or any entity who is affected positively or negatively by doing a project, or by delaying a project, or by not doing a project is a stakeholder. And all stakeholders cannot be sponsors, where a sponsor is definitely definitely a stakeholder. So I think this makes the definition of stakeholder very clear to you. This is a vast area. So especially in global project management, if you want to be effective, stakeholder management is key to your success. It is good that in PMBOK 5th edition, they have planned PMBOK stakeholder management as a different knowledge area by itself, because most of the projects fail because of improper stakeholder management. Thank you very much.